Hey folks, it's me, Charlie, coming at you live from the navy blue purgatory that every PragerU video is made in. Hey, speaking of PragerU, if you don't know what PragerU is, you probably have an ad blocker. I'll let you know my opinions on that if I ever get monetized. PragerU is this content farm, specifically a conservative politics content farm. They take a bunch of expired milk cartons that wished upon a star to become a real boy and sit them in front of a green screen and a teleprompter to tell your racist aunt that climate change? Sounds like not a big deal, actually. Have you considered maybe not being so mean to oil companies, actually? By the way, shout out to our sponsor today, the literal Koch brothers. Sorry, brother. May they have a speedy reunion. They're misinformation mongers. Their videos so dense with falsehoods that debunking one of their 5-minute videos could take anywhere from 30 minutes to an hour. Here's a fun game you can play at home. When they're not making up quotes to attribute to every leftist or pulling insane graphs out of their ass, PragerU will occasionally bother to cite a source, go to that source, read through it, and then see how long it takes for that source to directly contradict the video's claim. It's like hide and seek. And I don't think I need to mention that they contradict themselves all the time. It's a conservative content farm. Of course they're gonna contradict themselves. Man, cancel culture is so bad and definitely a real problem, right guys? Also, when's Whoopi Goldberg gonna get canceled? Learning history is super important. Unless it's the history of America doing racist shit, then it's indoctrinating the children. By the way, systemic racism doesn't exist. Unless it's against white people, then it is real and is systemic, but systemic racism doesn't exist. Big government and big business is terrible. We hate that. That's why we're big fans of the cops, the military, and overturning Roe v. Wade. Also, shout out to our sponsor, the Wilkes Brothers. Want to survive being pulled over by the cops? Just comply. Always comply. Unless they're telling you to put on a mask, then it's #ResistBaby.
There's a certain level of absurdity that I will not bend to, and I'm prepared to take the consequences. Anyway, civil disobedience in the United States has a very, very, a very noble history, right? Rosa Parks wouldn't sit in the back of a bus because the disgusting law of blacks had to sit in the back of a bus.
Yes, Dennis. You're just like Rosa Parks.
And I am alone.
But even watching PragerU, ironically, it's not that fun to watch. Maybe it's the fact that they all feature ancient Wall Street barons. Maybe it's the teleprompter. Maybe it's the blue void that's draining all of Dennis's natural magnetic charisma. It's just boring, and even they've realized it, because they're branching out. They're trying to reach the youths. Now when you look at their page, instead of lectures of the anti-college, you'll mostly find man-on-the-street style ambush interviews, podcast episodes featuring this woman. I'll let you guess what her deal is.
So I am half black and half white, so I'll be able to comment on this. I don't think I've ever heard anybody been like, that's just an angry black woman, that's all she is. Now I'm sure there are people who do say that. Can you give me just this massively racist occurrence that you can point to that has happened in the 21st century? Can anybody? Because the progressive left are the ones saying that meritocracy is an extension of white supremacy.
Facts can offend people. The more crimes committed, the more encounters with police. And when we look into the 2019 FBI crime table, we find that black people constitute 26.6% of all crime arrests.
But there were black people present at January 6th, so I'm wondering where whiteness ties into this. All of this advice is contingent upon this narrative that as a black person and as a black man specifically, there is a constant target on your back. Do you know how disgusting that is to teach your kids that?
It's like the race hoax industry. If you see a noose on a college dorm of a black student, the odds are overwhelming that the noose was put there by a black student.
I think it was pretty reasonable to say some of the things that he was saying. Or we could talk about the fact that Black Lives Matter rioted in the American streets for months. I'm not talking a day. I'm not talking a couple hours on January 6th. I'm talking months. When I should be focusing on, what we call now black on black crime.
Now, I found that if police officers were truly targeting black people, the rates of fatal shooting would look a lot more like the crime rates in black communities.
The reality is that if you are a black man that gets pulled over by police officers and you sit there and you go, yes sir, no sir, what do you need? My registration demonstration? Okay, I'm going to grab that for you now. You grab it, you give it to them, they look at it, and they send you on your way. Sundown towns do not exist. The laws around sundown towns don't exist anymore. So yeah, stereotypes exist for a reason. Like, get over it.
I guess they couldn't spring for Candace anymore. They're also trying to get in on YouTube Shorts. It's not going well.
Monsters like Lenin, Stalin, Mao, Kim Il-sung, Ho Chi Minh, and Pol Pot took this to the nth degree.
Now look, I know I'm not exactly the perfect person to be talking about hairstyles, but I guess it wasn't a phase.
Because tonight will be the night that I will fall for you.
Thank you for not mentioning my hero AH, and before you rebuttal with a wise remark, I'm not white and even I know AH was a genius. Oop, I spoke too soon. I guess Candace is still around. But occasionally, very occasionally, they will attempt comedy? Question mark? And by that I mean they did 2 parodies of a show that ended almost 10 years ago, and a TikTok compilation where they apparently had to give instructions in the thumbnail of what you're supposed to do when you watch it. Unfortunately, I still forgot.
Dr. Seuss is canceled. It's time to update these books so children will think properly. Kids need to learn about capitalist exploitation, so how about How the Grinch Stole from the Working Class? This monstrosity normalizes fatherhood. How about Hop on Cop? This one is just asking for fascism. How about One Fish, Two Fish, Canceled Fish, Blue Fish?
Oh, brother! What, is he about to rob a train? What's with the bandana? If you're wondering if PragerU's comedy extravaganza features the one joke, of course! You fool! You buffoon! You waste of a parent's love! Why even ask?
Did someone call for a doctor? Oh, thank goodness you're here. Can you help her? Did you just assume that person's gender? Hey, thanks so much for coming in today on such a short notice. We got some bad news, sir. Sir, I identify as ma'am. Excuse me, did you just say menu? What's today's special? Patriarchy pasta? It's a womenu. Hispanic? Don't you mean her Hispanic? Okay, first of all, I don't want your sexist chimichanga. It's a chimichanga. And secondly, seriously, pimento cheese? It's pimento cheese. I'm not boycotting anything. I'll gladly girl-cot it though.
I didn't think the putting the towel on the head to signify this character is a woman genre of skit could get any worse.
You piece of shit. You fucking goddamn fucker.
But then again, I also thought I couldn't get any more depressed. So I suppose this is a day of learning for me.
You have fucking crossed the line.
Now, I'm sure by now you're wondering, Charlie, who is this goober? This goober is called Will Witt, which is funnier than anything he's done on purpose. One day, he will have wit. Just not anytime soon. He's the guy in all those street ambush videos I mentioned earlier.
Do you think that sexual content and gender content should be not taught to children?
Absolutely not. I was a sex crimes detective at Anaheim Police Department, and many of the things that I see Disney doing, or what's happening in our schools, we would have arrested somebody for doing that. It's a criminal offense to show them pornography.
So they sent a whole class out to get us. This Native American class is now sent out to come and talk to us.
Are you looking for love?
Nope. He's got a book. How to Win Friends and Influence Enemies. Taking on liberal arguments with logic and humor. Well, we've seen his logic and humor, so I don't have high expectations. The class was Sociology 101, a class that conservatives today reference to justify the assertion that universities are brainwashing the youth of America. And justly so! This class ticked every leftist propaganda checklist. White privilege? Check. Sexism and the patriarchy? Check. Capitalism sucks? A double check. This class was complete leftist garbage, but at the time I had no idea I was being brainwashed. Oh no, you went to a sociology class and learned about sociology!
I feel kind of embarrassed.
Also, in 2019, and I'm just gonna put up a big old content warning here, a video surfaced showing Will at a party appearing to force a woman's head into his lap while saying, "Yo, rape is hilarious." Weirdly enough, That zinger didn't make it into the compilation. Interestingly, right before I started working on this video, Will announced that he and PragerU were parting ways. Not because of the aforementioned comments, of course. That would require some sort of integrity on PragerU's part. No, Will's fans actually have their own theory. It's because of Amala. The girl we mentioned earlier. Apparently she's been causing problems and isn't a good fit for the team, and that's not because of racism, okay? That's not real, and it only happens against white people. Don't worry, Amala, they'll pick you someday. I'm sure of it. With that out of the way, let's move on to the PragerU office. Some real creative names we're seeing today. Can you just do that? Can you just put your name in front of an actually funny thing and suddenly it's yours now? I wonder what it would look like if other conservative media companies did this. The Daily Wire New Girl, starring that fake streamer girl. Breitbart Parks and Rec, where Ron cares way more about age of consent laws. The Babylon Bee movie. They made 2 of these, both about holiday parties.
Hey, Will. Nice costume. What are you supposed to be?
Not supposed to be anything. It's supposed to be safe.
Yeah, this one's about COVID.
COVID-19 is the worst pandemic in human history. I had a friend of my cousin Mo who lost his sense of taste for 3 days. So yeah.
I mean, yeah, man. 6 million people are gone forever, but sure. I guess they were just being dramatic. Although now that I say it out loud, I suppose it is par for the course for a PragerU contributor to minimize something with that death toll.
All right, before we get started, everyone, hands up. Sanitizer time, right? Yeah, get it nice and juicy.
Why did they edit in the gross squishing sound? Is the joke that hand sanitizer is bad? Is that supposed to be a joke? I feel like I'm gonna be saying that a lot.
Today is our safety lesson. Because you guys think COVID-19 is a joke. First thing, we all love trick-or-treating, right?
I guess they had to stop filming for a bit to use the conference room because they very clearly erased the first safety and then rewrote it a little bit to the right.
Trick-or-treating is the best. But this year, you can only trick-or-treat yourself. Give yourself some candy, give yourself some treats that you like, but don't touch anyone else's candy.
Actually, there's no evidence COVID spreads through food. It's mostly through respiratory droplets, which is why masks work, by the way. You can get it by touching surfaces with the virus on it and then touching your mouth or your nose, but this is easily combated by washing your hands frequently, which you should be doing anyway, right? You would know this if you bothered to look it up. But this is PragerU we're talking about. Why let facts get in the way of quality content? Hey, speaking of quality.
One thing to note about Halloween. Your costume cannot be offensive in any shape or form. But when you guys, you know how many Native Americans cowboys killed? Brokeback Mountain over here?
They're supposed to be cowboys? Huh. I guess they are gonna rob a train. And now he's spraying the food with Lysol? Because that's what the libs do, yes sirree. And uh-oh, he still got sick. Because that can still happen. That's why quarantine is the most recommended thing for stopping the spread. Again, you could have looked this up. I can already hear the left screaming about this video. Very funny. The left will go bananas over this. Okay, I'm not a meme maker, but I've been longing for this one. Denethor, his mind overthrown by watching too much CNN on the Palantir, of course, races out of the throne room and yells, "Fear! Abandon your post!" And then Gandalf/Trump smacks him with his staff and leads the city to victory. You can put Don Lemon or Chris Cuomo on Denethor's face. Love it! The next one is called Holiday Party, and holidays in quotes. Let's find out why.
It's been a long year, okay? Premium gas for my Beamer is like $6 a gallon now. We found out Dave Chappelle is an anti-trans bigot, and the homeless dude outside my apartment poops on the ground more than my dog Rocky does.
Well, we're off to a bit of a rocky start.
All right, everyone. My name is Will Witt.
He delivers every line like he's high and bewildered.
I have brown hair, brown eyes.
I have brown hair, brown eyes.
Check your privilege, buddy.
Check your privilege, buddy. Here's a tip. Maybe start showing a bit of a broader range of emotions. Or at the very least, and emotion. Or perhaps try doing more than one take? I realize you're working on a bit of a tight budget. I mean, it's not like you receive outlandish amounts of money from the most obscenely rich people in the world. By the way, shout out to our sponsors today.
And Amla celebrates Kwanzaa.
I celebrate Christmas just like everybody else.
Everybody?
I'm Jewish. I don't really care.
And I'm offended that you assume that I celebrate Kwanzaa just because I'm black.
I thought getting offended over racist microaggressions was for beta-lib soy cucks. It kind of seems like he's in the right here.
I know everyone was really looking forward to the white elephant gift exchange, but we all know that white is racist. So we're doing a rainbow elephant exchange, okay? And it's gonna be even more fun. Because what's more fun than having white people give gifts to minorities for reparations, right?
I wonder why they only showed these two very well acted and natural reactions to that bit. Interesting.
Now, the most important part of any party is safety.
Yeah, this one was secretly about COVID too.
Hey, I'm Dr. Fauci. Make sure you're wearing your mask and staying 6 feet apart.
Remember when Hinge introduced voice prompts and every straight guy in the world picked the impressions prompt, but the joke was that they just did the gruff New Yorker voice?
Hey, it's me. I'm Michael Cera. I'm in the movies. Look at me. Hey.
I don't know, this just reminded me of that, except here it's a genuine attempt at an impression, and there is no joke, and I regret the decisions I made in my life that got me here.
Now, Keegan, I know you were really looking forward to playing Santa this year, but we want black Santa. Black woman Santa. So, Amala, you are our new Santa.
I don't even want to be Santa. Honestly, like, the suit's way too big, and if anybody sits on me, they're gonna crush me.
Again, you guys have all of the money. Why didn't Amala get a microphone? Also, that's just not where you should put a lav mic. Is this gonna be a regular thing, where I have to teach weirdos lav mic etiquette? You're gonna wanna take a strip of tape. I use medical tape. They make tape for fabric if you don't want it on your skin. I'm only wearing a shirt for this demonstration, because not for free. Attach it to the mic like this. Take a smaller strip of tape, and then kinda wrap it around the mic. And then you wanna tape it to the center of your sternum. And the tape keeps it from making noise when it rubs against your outer clothing. There you go. Stop being lazy, weird content farms. Also, don't think I was just gonna brush past the part about people sitting on her. Huh? Now look, I haven't actually been to an office holiday party. Sorry, Christmas party. So forgive me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure that they don't make grown adults sit in their coworker's lap? Is that a regular occurrence at the PragerU office? So regular that it's literally the first thing she brought up? If that's the case, I'm surprised Will didn't volunteer.
Gotcha, Miss.
I'm not supposed to take gifts from minorities.
Especially after the incident. I'm not gonna overstay my welcome on this video. Ethan is online and Jordan Adika already made a much funnier reaction to it than I ever could.
So we got racist Andrew Garfield.
But I will say that these could have been funny in a very, very alternate universe. You can make jokes with this premise, despite how hard Will makes it seem. There's humor to be found in an overly enthusiastic liberal who understands racism being bad in theory, but doesn't listen to marginalized voices when they're wrong. Unless you believe that everyone who calls people racist is faking it for oppression points. There's jokes to be made about someone who doesn't understand the pandemic past what they read in headlines, and relies only on masks for protection, only to get sick anyway. Unless you believe that the solution is to not do anything, and the whole thing is a made-up conspiracy. Good jokes tend to reflect a certain truth, whether that be about the world or about yourself. And when you're in the business of lies, it doesn't really help. It also doesn't help that the punchline to all your jokes are, hey, look at all these things the left does. Isn't that crazy? Because that's not a punchline. That's just gesturing in the direction of one. It's like if we were having a conversation and I just randomly said, Pinto Beans. What does that mean? Seriously, what does that mean? It's clearly a reference to something, but you don't know what, and I'll never tell. I'll take it to my fucking grave. Also, if you want to portray the left, whatever you understand that to be, as hysterical and overly dramatic, maybe make sure you're not also making videos claiming that we have a secret secularist agenda to destroy America by making you not say Christmas, while showing an image of an armed assailant and Santa Claus being beaten to death. Just a thought. That's where I'm gonna cut this off. I should mention that I was originally gonna do a segment on PragerU's nightmarish children's cartoons, but I ended up having a lot to say about these bozos. So if you wanna see that, like the video and comment Pinto Beans. Happy holidays!